We started watching Hell's Kitchen. You ever see Hell's Kitchen?
With Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah. Yeah, the Gordon Ramsay where they have a bunch of
Hmm.
chefs. They're all like, competing and stuff. Yeah, we've been watching that. It's fun to watch cooking shows, but I realize like it makes me hungry. It makes me think I can cook,
And they always make the fanciest, most beautiful dishes too.
but also like I can't judge it. Like I can listen, like I can watch American Idol and listen and be like, "You suck" or "You're amazing."
Mm.
I can't. What am I
You
supposed to?
don't know if that guy's like duck confit was any good.
It could be the best or worst thing. It could look amazing and still just literally taste like a thousand buttholes. Like I don't know. I don't know.
So
Yeah.
so so Chef Gordon Ramsay, what I did was I went to the butthole dimension and I gathered all of the buttholes
All
and
of them, every single
I've
one.
served them to you.
It needs less butthole or commit to the buttholes. You
I
don't.
don't feel like you've layered the butthole flavor enough throughout the whole dish.
It's just I just don't know what to do with it. Like I do like I enjoy it, but they lean really heavily on the reality aspect of it, and I forgot that that was a part of the show at all. I was like, oh yeah, it's a cooking show, but then they always give everyone like one of their like Full House like sad music moments where they're like,
My daughter's sick. Oh.
yeah,
This
exactly.
is her favorite dish that I make her at home, and I just tried to put a fancy twist on it.
Yep.
But I forgot to put the butter in, so now this dish might fail me, and I had to get sent home.
I have never felt like less like I've never felt like more of a monster than watching this show, Steven, because people will say these like sweet things, and I'm like, normally I would empathize with you, but this is about cooking, and I don't care. Like I just don't care
It
about
takes another reality show to turn us all into Simon Cowells, is really what it
it.
does.
100%. That's all it is. It's just like I just want to yell at them with him. I don't want to feel things. Stop it. I'm watching Hell's Kitchen to watch the devil like poke his victims or whatever. I'm not watching it because I want to
This
feel.
isn't Heaven's Kitchen. This is Hell's Kitchen. Your sob story but does not belong here.
All right, let's get to the show. Hello, welcome to We Have Issues. I'm Anthony.
And I am Stevie Wildcard.
Every week, my best friend Stevie Wildcard and I get together and we do our best to overcome the various issues and obstacles and distractions that life throws our way in order to make an idiot sandwich of all of our
I was
problems
gonna say every week we take our issues, we take two slices of bread and we put them in and go, "What are you?" And our issues say an idiot sandwich
every single week.
every single week.
We do our best to Gordon Ramsay the heck out of our problems and get something done. Most recently, we've been working on a series of comic books. We were making a book called Deathless. We are now working on issue 4 of the book. If you've been with us for a while, you've seen the entire journey, and every week we kind of talk about the things that go through our heads and the things we experience, and share silly stories. And we're trying to build this colony. And Steven, I just have to share something really stupid with you before we go any further. Like I'm trying to hold on to it, but it's just like it's making me laugh and I can't stop. So I'm gonna share it with all of you people and Steven. I learned something today, Steven. And okay, there was a man
Tell
named
me, sir. Tell me, sir.
there's a man named Frederick Bauer. Do you know this name at all?
I do not.
Okay, so there's a man named Frederick Bauer. If you don't know who he is, don't Google it yet. And this man is a food engineer, like just a food structural genius, right? He made freeze-dried ice cream, like he invented that, along with some like cooking oils and various things. He is most famous for developing a cylindrical container for a specific type of curved potato chip that we're all aware of called the Pringle. Okay, so this man,
So he wasn't trying to make tennis balls, as Mitch Hedberg led us
right,
all to
exactly.
believe.
Screw it, cut him up. Yeah. So Frederick Bauer created Pringles, right? He invented this cylinder.
Compress. And what's crazy about Pringles is they aren't chips of a potato. They're actually compressed potato. I imagine almost like instant potatoes compressed into the rounded
Yeah,
duck-bill form, you know?
yeah. They're so strange. It's like the LaCroix of potato chip.
Yeah.
It's very odd.
It was a potato in its like previous life. It is not currently a potato, but
It's not. It's a potato that's astral projecting
it's
into.
one of the most American things I've ever seen, if I'm
It really is.
honest.
Like the Pringle is like a genie bottle for a potato spirit. Like
That's
there's no you wish you had a better potato chip. Anyway, this man's knowing for making this Pringles, which by the way, Steven, what is the Pringles slogan? Everybody knows.
Once you pop, the fun don't stop.
There you go. Once you pop, the fun don't stop. Stephen, let me tell you a little bit about Frederick Bauer. He unfortunately died. He had a
Oh,
long, healthy, a long, happy life,
once
obviously.
he popped, the fun did stop.
Yes, and except he he was cremated, Stephen. And you know what they did with his ashes? They put it in
Oh,
a Pringles can.
what?
They put his at
Could
his
you
request.
imagine?
At his
Hey,
request.
okay, at his
Put
request.
at
Okay,
his request.
fine.
They put
That's his Viking funeral. If that's how he gets to
they
Valhalla.
put this man's ashes in a Pringles can and buried it. Now, Steven, you know some unsuspecting person's going to dig that up in a couple hundred years and find the world's worst sarcophagus of
Yeah.
all time. Like, can you imagine the curse that
They're like,
Frederick
they must
Bauer
have
put?
really hated this man to burn his body and place it into a snack food bin. Not even a popular snack food bin, as Pringles was long gone.
But like, can you imagine someone popping that open and suddenly he comes out and he's like, he just like I mean, he's going to haunt you if you pop open that thing. Because you know what we know about Frederick Bauer, based on everything we know about Pringles, he has a lot of unfinished business. You want to know why? Because it never stops, Stephen. It
it,
never stops.
it never stops once you pop. That is a and that I love how that slogan goes from this really cheery, potatoy, snacky slogan to like a horrible horror movie tagline. Once you
100%.
pop, the fun don't stop. And like Frederick Bauer is coming for you in Pringles genie ghost form.
I love it. Stephen, it made me like I want to look up like other weird containers for ashes. Like I know people can be made into records, which I think is really cool and
That
interesting,
is cool.
right? You can be made into different things. So I was like, man, I don't really want to be cremated. I want to be shot into
Made
space. Like,
into a record with
but
like all the songs you shared with the people you loved would be so awesome, wouldn't
wouldn't
it?
that be
It's like
amazing?
they're singing it with you for all for the rest of
I
your
almost want
life.
to like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to make a playlist, right? For
Hmm.
that specific purpose. But what I don't want to tell the people, aside from all the people, the million people who are going to watch this, Steven, but I want to do is record like another track, like Michael
A
Jackson.
bonus track.
Yeah, a bonus track, like, but not a bonus
You're gonna
track.
omni voice it.
I'm an ominous voice inside of every single song. So it's just like, I like this song. Thank you for playing this one. Stop
What a,
touching the song.
one of
Like,
my favorite add-ons to a song I ever did was I think I've shared the story with you, and I might have even played it for you when I had done this. But I remember I got my G4 PowerBook, and when I had my Mac, it was the first time, like when I was in high school, I was like, "Oh, this is so cool! I can play with music and stuff now." And we all know if you listen to scene music back then, a lot of scene music songs, especially the Midwestern emo and stuff like that, utilize quotes from movies, but in specifically Silverstein in I believe it's Smashing the Pieces, right? No, maybe which song has the quote from Fight Club in it? You were the worst thing that ever happened to me.
the worst
So
thing.
I can't remember which Silverstein song
Yeah.
has it. It might be My Heart Bleeds No More, actually. Uh, I took that quote out and I put the quote from Along Came Polly. I just
My
sharded.
best
I don't
friend
know what
said,
that means. Yeah.
he
No,
did that.
yeah. I just sharded. I don't know what that means. Try to fart a little shit came out. I just sharded. No! And then I put that and I just made a CD mix of Silverstein and then just listened to Silverstein with Mike Curtis next to
Yeah.
me. And then when it got to that
Oh,
part, he goes, and then he hears it, and he's like, and then he lost it because
oh, of course.
it's such a good joke because
It's such a good
why would
joke.
I do that? Why would someone set up a joke just to play an entire like 2.5 minutes of a song to have this little quote,
Oh, it's so
But
good, dude. It's so good. I love
that
stuff like
would be cool to make a vinyl and include like quotes from you in the
that.
songs that they're experiencing,
That'd be
you know.
fun. Like I can see why people do that. But speaking of that, Steven, I was actually thinking about this today where I was just like, our show is all about our issues and how we overcome them and get through them and just talking about them and expressing them in general. And I was like, recently my issues have become once again the issues of like the exceptionally privileged where I am just worried about like ambition and mortality. Where I'm like, I'm
Hmm.
gonna die, what do I do before I die? Like I don't know when it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, but probably sooner than I'd like. So
Hmm.
like what do I really want to do? Like what does it mean? Why? Um, so I don't know. I was trying to think of like what we're gonna do next, because we've kind of like talked about it. We're like, oh, should we kind of want to make a movie, we kind of want to do different things. I've been talking about maybe making some more music, like once I
Hmm.
catch up with the writing here. So I don't know, like what do you think? Like, what do you feel like you really want to do next?
I feel like with the ideas that you've discussed, music is going to be infinitely simpler than a production,
Yeah,
but maybe we dip our toes into music and then maybe even try to like write music, but then maybe like utilize that rolling ball from writing in something like that and making the soundtrack for the movie too.
that'd be cool. Yeah,
Like
that's
setting
true.
up the stages for like other aspects of the movie. I can't be your best friend and
Wow,
not
this is
support
how
you.
you're breaking
No,
up.
I can't be your best friend
This
and
is-
not support you in making the reason why you ever did anything when it comes to storytelling. Because the main form of storytelling you've always wanted to do is make a movie.
that's true.
Comics, music, everything else, books, in between is really just mediums that you can express your storytelling skills in,
Yeah,
but not in the form that you want to express your
right.
stories
Yeah,
in. You know what I'm saying? It's just the easiest mediums in
yeah,
comparison.
that's true. That's fair. And like, yeah, it sucks because obviously there are like bigger hurdles, but I do feel like we have more capabilities these days. You know, I do
Mhm.
feel like we reach more people, thankfully. Hi, by the way, if this is your first time to the show, welcome. Thank you for tolerating our whole talk and our Pringles ghost conversation. That's what we do here. And if you enjoy it, then please hit the subscribe button because you belong in our colony. That's just the kind of people we
You
are,
absolutely do.
kind
The
of conversation.
Kool-Aid tastes like dirt, but we promise it's good. It's not
We promise it's also real dry. But there's a
super
lot.
dry,
There's
and
so much.
it's not cold enough or hot enough. It's just stagnant room temperature. But
So yeah, so we're building a colony here. And together as a colony, we're going to make a movie at some point, right? And so is that what we're gonna settle on? You wanna say like next year, like we'll start this year, I'll start doing all the prep work, like
because I
pre-production
think
type
after
stuff.
issue, I if what you're saying is like it was kind of like what I was saying to you when we were talking about it loosely on D&D night. I think what we basically do is we finish Deathless, and then
Right.
we continue working on Bloodlust, and then that allows me to work if Bloodlust continues. That allows me you to easily write these 14-page scripts for Bloodlust,
Yeah.
and then I can keep working on that while you're working on the movie, and then like
Right.
you know what I'm saying. I feel like
Okay.
it'll be a good way to throw the juggle around again
Yeah,
because Bloodlust is if it continues is a really good moneymaker for us
for
and
sure.
we will have concluded Deathless, so that'll get that gives us like our next project can be a movie. Doesn't mean we're not going to go back to our own comics. Like we obviously are never going to quit comic creation.
Yeah.
But I feel like that is a good way to because right now we're juggling both Bloodlust and our own comics, and I think that would be a year off of like our own comics
Mhm.
would be a good like a good times setup for both of us.
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
it'll benefit both of us.
Okay. So,
I
okay.
also think we should look into doing a light novel because I feel like your prose is really good. And then a light novel simplifies the overall artwork. You know what I'm saying? Like we just really do some epic maps and like cool like action sequence,
We do
every
have
3 or 4 pages.
Yeah, we do have questions about incorporating our D&D stuff into fiction. So we'll get to some questions. We're gonna
Ooh.
so for those of you out there who might have some random questions or suggestions, if you're watching right now and you're like, why are they talking about their lives when they should be talking about oranges versus carrots and who would win the fight if they were both vampires? You can ask us those questions and we will answer them. We do a segment called Questions from the Colony, which we will do in a minute. I just want to wrap this up real quick. So yeah, I think we should. I think we should make the vampire comedy. I think we should make Stakeout because
I
it's the
think and that'll
smallest.
keep me on theme with Bloodlust too. I just live in vampires for a couple years. You know what I'm saying? Like
It's a small film. I can like kind of rewrite it to use where I live or where you live, like either or both. But yeah, so like I'll rewrite it. I'll make it work for like the locations that we have now with and like see what I can do. If if it's I want to make a feature length movie. I'd prefer to make because I know no one watches short films. I mean, if we make a feature length movie, we can get it on Amazon Prime. We can get it on probably not Netflix, but like we can get it out there. Even if we put it on Tubi and be like, ha, people can watch our movie. It's fun.
yeah, that would be cool.
So yeah, it's something I think it's something that we can do. We just have to actually just pull the trigger. And I know there are people out there who are dying for us to make a movie. If you want to show your support for us making a movie, comment below. Do like hashtag stakeout. Let us know that you're like into our like silly vampire comedy, and it'll help us. It'll help boost us a little bit and motivate us to kind of get light that fire under us. Otherwise, Steven, this week we played D&D for the first time, dude.
We did.
We played Dungeons and Dragons. So I want as the person who was DMing for the first time, would you like how was it? How did it
It was
go?
great. And then even Tina was obviously not reluctant or hesitant. Those are nice words. That's not what she was. But she's not really into stuff like that. But she even said she had a lot of fun. This is a lot more fun than I thought it was gonna be. And like I can tell she's vibing her character too. Like she's really liking
100%.
this whole stealthy rogue. Like I can see her feeling a sense of power in her character, which is cool.
I we started playing D&D, and I created this whole campaign called the Tales of Othermere, the Order of Lumia. So I wrote this whole story, and I showed you guys, and it was fun to watch Tina go from someone who was like kind of I like disengaged, like you could see like she's like, I'm there for my friends. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. She went
Hmm.
from like being kind of like on the outskirts, like I'm here, I'm just happy to be here. I'm participating like a wallflower at a party, and then like slowly realize like, oh, I'm in the skin of this character and I can do
Hmm.
different things. And it was fun to watch her do that. She's like, wait, I can jump up there? Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah. Y-
yeah.
Your acrobatics is actually really crazy, love. You can
Really
do
great.
basically whatever you want when it comes to
Dude.
stealth or acrobatics.
But it was so much fun to play with you guys, and like it made me feel good because I was like, okay, all this stuff I've been reading and learning, it's actually like it was coming to me in the right time. I was,
Mm.
like I was afraid I was gonna get in that moment where like a deer in headlights, like roll a die, you win the game, you won a dungeon. Here's your dungeon, you get a
You
dungeon.
did it. You did it.
Like I don't know.
I love that I like because like at first when I was like creating the paladin character, I made it a half orc, and I'm like, all right, I think I'm gonna try to play like the super justicey, like
Yeah,
really ordered and like like paladin. But then I'm like, I really started to, like feel him out, and like he's a half orc. Like I imagine an orc
yeah.
seeing the light as a means to just enact rightful vengeance, basically, and that's what my character's been doing, and he's been doing a really good job at it.
KT and I, we both like we were talking about how like your character went from being like more like a self-righteous and like kind of like it
Mhm.
happened, you could see like the light switch like flick on where you're like, oh wait, I know what this character is, and you kind of were like, I am a violent character, even
Yeah.
though I am a self-righteous person, like I'm well intended, but I'm also using these this.
I basically have found a way to get rid of the guilty conscience of
Yeah,
death by doing it for the light, which is
so
just
so
it's
wrong,
so
so funny.
it's so crazy. But I imagine that's how like an orc would perceive such a thing, like he would see these people like imposing justice on denizens, and
Yeah,
he would see it as like, oh, I can serve a higher purpose by slaying my enemies with this light.
I love
And
it,
it's
dude.
been going pretty good.
Yeah, I'm really excited to play again. I have like some stuff to put together, but I'm looking forward to it. It went so much better than I was expecting. We played for a lot longer than I was
I
expecting.
feel like everyone gets it. Like everyone in because like I said, I've seen critically stupid. I've seen other stuff like that,
Yeah,
and I feel like everybody does just enough side stuff, but knows to follow the path that you're setting
yeah,
before us. Like
yeah.
we don't deviate from your path entirely, like.
No, no.
But we
And like,
do things in character still too. Like
yes,
what our
it
character,
was
like
fun.
my character wants to make his legendary weapon. Like he wants to
100%.
buy
I
it.
love that stuff.
You
Yeah,
know.
that was fun. And like
Mhm.
and like that, like like stuff like that where I was like, oh man, I never occurred to me that someone would be looking for a specific item. I was like, all right, well, I don't want to not give it to them, so I let you roll for it. And I
Mhm.
was like, all right, well,
And
I
I
got
don't even know if paladins throw hammers all the time. I mean, they do in WoW, but I don't think that's necessarily a thing in the game. But I'm just like, this is my throwing, like
this is
my
my
justice hammer, like
I
my gavel, basically. And I think that's what I'm gonna end up calling it is the gavel. I think the two-hander I just got is what's everyone's gonna expect to be the legendary. But I think my legendary weapon is gonna end up being that little hammer. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I was thinking. It's gonna be like a really cool Molnir type like
Yeah.
situation for you. But yeah, dude, I'm really like I'm looking forward to it. That's like a cool thing that we're doing because everything else in my life as far that's been creative has just been like for some other purpose one way or another where I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
well, Bloodlust, I'm right. Like I like coming up with the story and making it a story that I enjoy, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm doing it because we're paid to do it. And
It
like,
is a job, and that's how
and
I do enjoy like testing things out in my art when it came to Bloodlust.
yeah,
But yeah, I try to view it as something that has to be systematically done. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and
which I guess I should be viewing Deathless in that way too, but it just
but
feels like it's more of your baby when it's
yep,
like
yeah. I
Deathless,
know what that's the thing. And that yeah, so it's like there's
I
some
do need to I need to get working on Bloodlust soon. I just wanted to get a nice headway into Deathless, which I am doing. So,
heck yeah, dude, you're doing awesome. But anyway, I'm just like it's just nice to be doing something like creatively and with my friends, that
hmm.
doesn't have anything else behind it. It's just we're just doing this for fun. I did start a new YouTube account just to like for myself to have a diary and to ask like the public questions that I can't talk to you guys about because I can't spoil the freaking thing. So I'm
Hmm.
like, and dude, that's been like my biggest source of issues lately, honestly, is I've been working like my butt off on this whole story, and I have all these like all this crazy like stuff going on, like all these characters and this backstory, and all these like fun twists and turns and stuff and I can't share it with anybody. Like I can't
Hmm.
like like the person I live with, my fiance is part of the campaign, so I can't be like, oh my God, I came up with this idea today because it'll spoil it for her, and I want everyone to have
Hmm.
that. So like the only content that I'm making from that at all is like just talking about it with the people and be like, oh my God, I thought this was gonna happen, but they did this instead. You think I expected to come up with a bunch of ducks? Like I we're gonna be ducks? What?
Lucas is a nice was a nice
Oh
addition
yeah.
to this campaign too.
Oh yeah,
I
no, he
do
was great.
enjoy Lucas very much.
I thought it was funny that we included Brandon, like
Oh
Steven,
yeah, Fizzle Stacks
yeah,
or
yeah, Wiggle Stacks.
Wiggle
So
Stacks, yeah.
Steven's brother Brandon sat at the table just to watch us, and I felt bad that he was just like sitting there. So I just like wrote that he's a kobold, and like I was like, here, name yourself, and he named himself Wiggle Stacks, and we just like played along with it, and it became a character, and then became like a more important character because one of the kobolds said that he was their boss, which is it just got interesting. Anyway,
Harry and
yeah, dude. But it was so much fun. I can't wait to play again. If you're interested in that, you can go check out my other YouTube thing. It's at Dungeon Master Diary. But Steven, you're not allowed to see that ever.
maybe what we do too in the future after this campaign is if people that are in this campaign really enjoyed it, maybe we consider doing like a Critical Stupid type
I
show.
I would 100% love to do that. I don't want to force it on anyone. Like
Yeah.
if or like Lucas, if they don't want to do it, I don't want to be like, oh well, I guess we're gonna find someone else. Like it's just I want to, so like if they're interested, sure, like I'll record it. I don't, but I want it to be as natural as possible. I don't want it to become like oh we're doing this just to for the
Yeah,
art.
you don't want it to be a show.
Yeah,
You want to have fun.
that's
But that's what I was saying. Like maybe we'll do it. Or maybe we can just recreate some of the moments that happened or something. I don't know.
yeah, that's true.
It's
Yeah,
fun.
well, yeah. But otherwise, dude, we do every once in a while get questions from the viewers out there, from people
We
like
do.
you who just want to know something about us, want to ask us something, want to know what we're up to, want to ask our opinions on something. So we have a segment called Questions from the Colony, and Stephen always, every single time we do
Hmm.
this, hits us with this beautiful song that he's taken years to write. Like he wrote this.
Years.
This is actually why
Literal
we started
years.
the show. We were like, I was like just sleeping one day, and Stephen woke me up. He was like knocking on my forehead, and I was like, "Whoa, Stephen! I know you always wake me up like this every day, but at least kiss me." And he was like, "I
And
will with my beautiful song," and he sang it for
I
me.
sang it.
And
It was just, it's like, the wind blowing through the trees, the campfire smoke with ease. We wanna gather with our best friends and tell some stories to the end of the night. But then they say we have questions from the colony with Stephen, Todd, and Anthony. We're gonna answer every single question that you ask, 'cause we are the fucking best.
questions. Awesome,
Questions.
Stephen. Always amazing. So we have a handful of questions from people out there. If you have questions for us, you can ask us in the comments below, or you could find us on Twitter. We have Issues Pod, and also at Stephen. What's your Twitter handle now?
At Stevie Wildcard, pretty much everywhere.
Everywhere. Okay. So we have some questions. So the first one comes from Tyler Kirk. He wants us to ask about talk about cheese. Tyler likes to give me grief about my preference, my predilection for American cheese on specific things. I think personally, now, okay, this isn't to say, and I'm gonna preface this by saying you can make a delicious burger with so many cheeses, several
Hmm.
cheeses. A
Hmm.
Swiss mushroom burger, freaking perfect, like amazing. Are you
Hmm.
kidding me? Yeah, of course
Hmm.
it is. However, I will say one of my favorite cheeses on a burger, if not my favorite, is just American cheese on a
It
burger.
is. So, and
It,
I need people to understand because I know Sean, even Papa Sean, has his opinions about cheese that goes on a burger. I need you to understand that I am someone that goes to the local farmers market, Farmer Joe's, and I do buy very nice sharp cheddars. I love Point Reyes blue cheese. Like I eat good cheeses, but sometimes certain dishes do not need to be elevated. And I feel like what American cheese does to burgers and sometimes just a classic grilled cheese
yep.
is just unbeatable with
Mhm.
any of the other cheeses. And I know there's Havarti's pretty close. There are some cheeses that come close, but American it's just a classic. Maybe it's nostalgia, maybe it's this. It could be a thousand things on why I personally agree with
Of
you
course. Yeah.
in terms of American cheese being on a cheeseburger. But yeah, no, an American cheese, like if it was my final burger I was ever going to consume,
Yes.
I would want American cheese on it.
100%. And like what I feel like American cheese, of course, like everything in America gets a bad reputation from everywhere. And then the people
Hmm.
in America want to have want to be perceived as being better than other Americans. So they're like, "Oh, no, I like soccer. No, I hate American cheese.
I
No,
don't
I
like that processed stuff. And
no,
it's
I don't like."
like,
Yeah, and it's like, okay, I like your whole like ridiculous identity about having to be better than someone and like trying to come up with this
because
hierarchy based on food preferences is absurd. And like you're not welcome in our colony. I don't want we
get
don't.
out. You're not going to like the dirt Kool-Aid anyway.
That's right.
You're going to tell us to elevate it with like spring water from New York City or something like
But
that. I
I
don't
think
know.
I think you hit on a good point though when you said because you feel the need to preface it, and I think rightfully so, with the fact that like, look, you have elevated various tastes. Like you have a variety of flavors and foods that in which you partake.
Hmm.
You aren't simply someone who's like, oh, well, yeah, all I do is just eat
I'm
McDonald's
not a chicken
and
nuggets
spaghetti.
and burger
All that
guy. You know what I'm saying?
that
Like,
that's and is like and you say that to let them know like hey I know you're going to dismiss me as this like taste
hmm.
budless like buffoon this like troglodyte or whatever because I like American cheese and like or puns or whatever the thing is that's popular to hate these days but like
Hmm.
it's just not the case. You're being absurd. You need to shut
Hmm.
up.
Like
um
I would like to say that like I do have a very wide taste. Like I am not picky. I enjoy most things that I try, as you can tell. But like yeah, like that's one that's always irked me is that it's not even real cheese. It's like, bro, Oreos are freaking you guys like Oreos? Why don't Oreos catch any shit? Like Oreos aren't real cookies.
I don't
You know what
know.
I'm saying? Like
It's just ridiculous. We have more questions and some good ones. So, Steven, number two, I'm gonna shoot this to you. You're our werewolf expert, obviously. It's
obviously, I mean, we know
question.
about the nipples, we know about the dongs and the ginies.
We do. We've talked about werewolves at length.
They don't have a lot of length though.
Not a lot of length. It's a little
I
Red
figured it
Rocket
out.
situation down there, and we all know it. So, would werewolves bikini wax? How would that work out, Steven?
I don't. Why would they? Like, if I'm honest, I mean, the
I,
only thing I could say is if a werewolf is bikini waxed or trimmed
mhm,
down there,
yeah.
right, to, you know, possibly share more intimate times with their lover, I imagine the most the werewolf is doing is taming the maybe excessive mane that would be down there. But it's still gonna be hairy. Why would
Okay.
you shave one part of your
A good, a
body?
good, a good question though, Stephen. A good, like off of this, I will say, if all right, let's say I'm a werewolf, right? Me, Anthony, I'm a werewolf. Let's go face, doesn't matter. Same pro. You can imagine the situation. I shave my face completely. I turn into a werewolf. When I come back, is my facial hair exactly the same as it was
And
pre-trans?
also, would your werewolf form's hair be as long as the hair you kept on your body?
Yes. like not, and like I'm not
I
saying
feel like
like
some transformations showcase that too. Like where like one guy has a beard, like that werewolf does
in the
seem to
werewolf,
have
yeah,
has more like going
as more
on
of
with
like
his
a like here,
yeah.
right? So like if I were to shave, would the wolf, of course it would self fur. It's not gonna be a bald chinned wolf, but like would the wolf have less of a tuft here because it's not growing as much?
Mhm.
Whereas the wolf otherwise would grow from the base, which would elongate the
So
hair.
then I guess the only thing that we would change here is if it goes with, I know it was your idea, but then we saw it in Van Helsing. But if we go with the Van Helsing transformation where the human skin is ripped off and the beast comes out,
Yeah,
I don't think the human's form would have any bearing on that. But
right.
in
I
the
think that's
typical werewolf movie, 99% of werewolf movies, it's an extension of the human. The bones crack and
yeah.
stretch. The human's body is
The
transforming into
human's
this
body is
werewolf.
transforming into a
So
werewolf.
yeah,
Yeah.
I guess if you were like could you imagine like if NoHo Hank from Barry turned into a
Yeah.
werewolf, would he be like just a skin werewolf?
He's just like one of those cats. So, yeah, I mean, I could see
Daddy.
that.
Just
Like,
yeah,
oh,
like
it's so
when
good. But like, well, because Steven, like, okay, if I turn into a werewolf, right, and you turn, like, we are both werewolves. We're like, all right, it's a werewolf night. Let's go. Like,
would
let's go.
I would definitely have more of a mane, right? Like my form would probably be hairier on the upper part anyway.
Yeah. Like, I mean, how would that hair translate to a werewolf? It wouldn't just magically connect.
Mm.
You'd have a werewolf with like longer hair, you
Yeah.
know? Like that's just you would have to. So,
I'm imagining maybe my hair would create like a hyena mane. You know what I'm saying? Like one of those
oh,
things where like
nice. I like
pulls
that.
back.
All right, let's see. We do have a lot of questions. All right, so Katie Carlisle, my perfect, beautiful fiance, has some questions for us. She asks, "What do you think your next team project will be after Deathless?" We just talked about this. I didn't look at any of
It
the
seems
questions.
like what KT, what we're gonna do is we're probably gonna focus, on the financial side with Bloodlust, but then really push towards music and a movie mostly.
We're gonna make a dang movie. Will you guys ever do a sexy, scandalous comic series of your own? Maybe, probably not, but
This
maybe.
is this is kind of opening some, doors. Like I don't know, like I definitely have noticed that Mary's looking a little different
I've
in this issue.
noticed that a lot. Yeah, yeah.
But
Not in a
Mary
bad
was
way.
always supposed to be that
Yeah.
character that was a little bit like more like a Harley Quinn-esque type
Hmm.
character, whereas M was supposed to be more reserved and but like yeah, I think there is some of it already kind of showing through on this
I can
issue.
see it. Um,
Um but yeah,
yeah.
I can see it
Okay.
happening.
Uh,
Tasteful.
so- yeah. Then we have Anthony. What is your favorite part of being a dungeon master so far? My favorite part is like everyone having so much fun and like really getting into it and interacting with the NPCs and stuff. I didn't know what
I
voice
love that
I was gonna do.
Hunter,
Oh,
Lucas's character
yeah,
hates
Lucas
Harry.
hates Terry. I created this NPC that has like this voice similar to a character from or a person from this documentary that I love called American Movie. So he's kind of like this is just what I sound like all the time. And Hunter Hunter he's a turtle hates Terry for no reason. He just doesn't like him. He
It's so
doesn't like
great.
the fact that he's like a kobold who's kind of like trying to look like he's fancier. He doesn't like that. He
He's
thinks
like he's like foregoing his
yes.
natural.
Like Hunter believes everyone should try to be in tune with their, natural selves and, what
Mhm.
and nature in general because he's a druid. But anyway, it's just so freaking funny, dude.
It is
But
it's a good running gag for
it
the
is.
campaign for sure.
That's been a lot of fun. So then she asks, Stephen, aka Stephanus, do you think the good people of Othermere will ever overcome their prejudices about a half orc and dragonborn being together?
I don't know, but like honestly, it's not my problem because my wife, the Dragonborn Nama, is gonna gut you like a fish, and as you can tell, Stephanus has a very loose definition of justice. So
So good.
that poor goblin, that
Oh my
poor
God, that was
goblin.
crazy. You guys
I
destroyed
rolled that
him.
that heavy roll, and he lost. Oh man,
Lost his
he was the
head.
only one that lived though, actually, right? But
Yeah. Oh, the one who lost his arm. Yeah,
yeah,
he got
the
away.
other guy
Guys,
did not do too well.
no, but yeah, one goblin got away, so that could come back. We'll see. So all right, we have Daly asked us. Our good friend Daly Downing it says, if vampires pick a victim based on blood type, what does each blood type taste of, Steven? Let's just get like let's go
I
what like
mean,
A, B,
the
and
rare
O.
blood types would probably, I mean, just to keep in, good things are very seldom found, right? So I'd imagine the rare blood types would taste the best and the cleanest or whatever that means in vampirism.
Mhm.
Um, So O probably, right? Isn't O a
Oh,
rare one? What was it? AB negative is a rare
yeah,
one, I think. Like I feel like those, and you know what? They would probably just taste better in the sense that they don't get to taste them often, right? Like
often.
I would imagine it's like a
Yeah,
flavor they don't
it's
get often. It's probably even like an acquired taste because it's so rare, you know?
right.
Like
That's fair. It's
it's
like
like a you know, like a human
like
drinking their first beer. They're like,
beer.
ooh,
Yeah,
what's this?
yeah.
You know?
It's not great, but it's not bad. Um, I don't know. What I mean, what, like I feel like the other blood types would just it would depend on what the
I
human
feel like
body is eating
honestly,
more than anything else.
the
But
yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. I think the blood types wouldn't impact it as much as diet or like disease that's in the
disease, yeah, and like
yeah
age and various things.
yeah.
Other okay, so we have questions from Fowler. Fowler asked for Steven, how was your first D&D session with Anthony? What's it like playing at the same table as your wife? And then he says, I've played for a long time and never with my significant other, so I'm curious. So what's it like playing
it,
a
it I will say it was especially awesome because I know it's not her thing.
yeah.
And to see her go from like doing something with her husband because she wants to be there and hang out with her husband into like like watching her wheels turn and seeing what she can do with this character and seeing her find her power in her character is really cool.
It was so much fun. I
It's
forget.
super cool.
And then he says, Anthony, what's it like being your fiance's DM? I basically like our whole relationship. I just roll dice and she just does things based on what the dice say.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just our relationship. I
That's
was
been
like,
the whole
"Will you
thing from
marry
the
me?"
go.
Yeah, I was like, "Will you marry me?" She's like, we're about to find out." And like she rolled a
Nat
die.
20.
Yeah, she got a nat 20. And I was like, we both win. No, but it was amazing. Like it was so much fun. She's been really excited, guys. Like you don't understand. Like ever since she found out that we were going to play Dungeons and Dragons. She's been fiending for it. Like she watched all of Vox Machina and like she watched all of Harmon Quest and like she's just like really in need of playing. And she's freaking good at doing voices too, which is like
Yeah,
it's fun.
her Midwestern
Oh,
character,
it's so much.
Corinne, right?
Yeah, Corinne. It's so
So
much
great.
fun.
And I like how all of us are kind of throwing in our own voices in too. Like
Yeah.
I've
Yeah, dude.
basically just adopted Thorfinn from Ghost because it's just such a perfect fit for a
Oh,
half orc. But
oh, freaking good, dude. Okay, we have Tracy Shu asks, I would love to do one on quantum fiction. All right, Stephen, answer what Stephen, tell us your expertise on quantum fiction. Well,
ooh, quantum fiction.
yeah.
Okay. So like quantum fiction, like basically what happens to me is I just, I wake up with the intention to write one book, but
Mhm.
then I find myself writing an entirely different book as an entirely different person. And like I don't know what to do. And then only once I write to a certain point in the chapter do I like leap to the next
Yeah,
quantum
so,
fiction story.
Stephen,
And
he puts a period and he goes, "Oh boy," and then
oh
jumps to
boy.
the next book.
I jump into the next book. Suddenly I go from writing pirates to a romantic comedy to like a better version of Twilight. It's just wild.
Oh my God. I love it. Perfect answer. No notes. Stu World Order says or wants us to talk about Jubilee. Stephen, just give me a couple like what do you think about Jubilee from the X-Men?
From the X-Men?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think Jubilee is a character that when I was a child, I would say didn't appreciate
100%.
enough.
Same.
Didn't
I would
appreciate
say
enough.
Steven, I don't know, I can't speak for you, but maybe I can. But like the X-Men show that was on when we were kids kind of made Jubilee feel like all she did was fireworks and be annoying.
Yes.
Like,
And beyond that, like Jubilee is obviously supposed to be, and I think this is always
it's
funny. It's the character we're
the character.
supposed to relate to.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I
100%.
thinking back as a child, I never sought characters that I would relate to, but
Yeah,
characters I would strive to be ultimately.
yeah,
Like when you were watching X-Men as a kid or reading the X-Men comics, you wanted to see Wolverine, Gambit, Magneto. You wanted to see those Nightcrawler, like those
yeah. I wanted
cool,
to see
really
Nightcrawler and
badass
Gambit do
characters.
badass things and like
Exactly.
imagine, and then I'd go and pretend that was capable of badass things that I wasn't capable of, you
So
know?
I think in saying that, I will say I feel like the early seasons of X-Men,
Yeah,
the 90s show, Jubilee was, I think, too helpless.
yeah.
In this 97 like reboot return,
Mhm.
I really love Jubilee's
I did
character in it.
too. Yeah.
Because she's more of like not the the master, but she's the one that's been around the block now, and she's introducing this sunspot into the team, and
Yes.
like assisting him with all the things that she's dealt with. And I feel like her character is just so much like it's just better handled, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Because I mean, the things I related to as a kid and still relate to now are just like the feeling of being another, like the feeling of alienation, the feeling of like rejection, from
Hmm.
society, and being like this like counterculture sort of person. It was like like I'm getting yelled at by my parents and by my society in
Hmm.
general. Like everything I do is wrong somehow, even though I feel like this is who I am, and like that aspect of it is always there. So I didn't, but I didn't need what the other thing they were doing. There were
Hmm.
anything else from
Yeah,
Jubilee.
like Jubilee was already an outcast in
Yeah,
terms of being a mutant, and we already
exactly.
understood that whole lesson of
Yeah,
outcasts. Like we
and
were
that's
already relating to the entire team. So for
yes.
her to be an outcast in the outcast,
We're like, all
it was
right,
yeah. Like, I think they just did. I don't think they thought enough, about what they
yeah,
were doing with the character then. And I actually haven't read a lot of X-Men comics that featured her, if
in
I'm
Jubilee.
honest.
Yeah,
But I
fair
imagine
enough.
she's better in the comics naturally because
Of
comic
course.
books just explore crazier avenues with
Oh.
powers and things like that.
All right, let's see. We have a couple of more questions from Fowler. Fowler says, "Do you guys know what your next collaborative project will be after finishing Deathless?" We've been talking about the movie. Then he says, "There potentially be novels or comics based in Other Mirror?" Maybe it's a cool place I've been like playing with. So we'll see where it goes. I mean, if we expand this world enough and we really like it, who knows?
Who
Um,
knows? Maybe
then he
it'll like
has
get some creative juices flowing and we create
yeah,
like stories and
for sure.
tales of Othermere, or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah. What's your favorite movie you've seen so far in 2025? Doesn't have to be from 2025 though. So like whatever you watched this year, like what's your favorite movie you've seen this year?
I will say my favorite show that I've seen this year has been Barry because I never watched Barry
Oh,
and we did
so good.
we really loved all of it. Like I said, there was that little bit of a where I was second guessing it, but then
Yeah.
it finished perfect.
Yeah, it did.
What's a movie that I've watched recently? Shoot. Tina and I haven't we haven't really been watching movies.
No.
We watched what did we just randomly put on the other day? I can't remember. Yeah, I don't think I've watched any. I don't even think I've gone to the
No.
movie theaters this year so far. Have you
Hmm.
gone to the movie theaters this year?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of things. I'm trying to think of like my favorite thing I've watched. We just watched the Brothers Solomon for the first time in years because like we put a bunch of movies into a hat. Did I tell you about that? About what
Mm.
happened with that? Okay, so Katie and I sat down at the table and we were like, we should put a bunch of names of movies into a hat, right? And we're like, let's just think of movies. So we were going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So like when she was writing one, I was thinking like, okay, what's my next movie, you know? So I was like, okay, okay, I'm gonna come up with one. I'm gonna come up with one. And I couldn't come up with one. And I was like, oh, come on, what should we watch? So then it's my turn. I'm sitting there thinking, and she's sitting there, and I'm like, I got it. And I go, The Brothers Solomon, just because it's Will Forte and I love him, and I haven't seen it in a long time, and it's a silly freaking movie. I remember like it made me happy because it was so
I don't
goofy.
think I've ever seen that movie.
You've never seen The Brothers Solomon?
I don't think so.
First of all, you and Tina need to watch that movie on like a just like a fun date night movie situation because like
Okay.
it's like a perfect era like John C. Riley, Will Ferrell era like comedy movie where it's just like and like Judd Apatow and like
Yeah,
all
it
that
came
it's
out in
like
'07, so it looks
yeah,
like it's right in the heart of
it's
all
right
that.
in the heart of that and like it's the comedy is like it's so silly. It's so silly, but it's perfect. It's a perfect silly movie. Anyway, dude, okay, so we sit down. I finally think, I'm like, okay, I haven't seen this movie in a long time. I remember it being like silly enough, and I think we'd both enjoy it together. So I was like, Brother Solomon. And she, as I start writing it down, she's like, that's what I was gonna write next. And
That's crazy.
I was like, no
This
way.
is kismet. This is
And
destiny.
I was like, no way. And she's like, yeah, I swear. She's like, I swear to you, you were sitting there thinking. And I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen this movie in a long time. And she's like, I'm gonna write this down because like we need, because that's what we were doing. We're just trying to think of like fun movies we haven't seen in a while that we want to watch together, you know? So, dude, that night we were like, all right, let's pick our first movie. And we shake the hat, shake the hat. She picks up, and it's The Brother Solomon. And I was like, okay.
This is
This is
wonderful.
meant to be. Like, we're watching this dang movie. And it was so funny. Like, it's such a silly movie. It's not a good movie or whatever, but like it's a popcorn movie. It's so funny. Like if you watch it, it's freaking hilarious. You and Tina will laugh during that movie 100.
Awesome.
We watched what else did we watch this year? I feel like
I did rewatch Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness
oh, did
recently,
you?
Cambria. Yeah.
Nice. How was that? Was that like on rewatch?
it's I like I think that movie got a lot of shit. I think that
Yeah,
movie got a lot of shit because No Way Home, I think it was. What's the
yeah,
last one? Yeah, No Way Home
yeah.
got like set up such a cool multiverse situation, and then that movie, which is actually called Multiverse of Madness, didn't really
Yeah.
visit a lot of
Didn't.
multiverses.
That's true.
But I think overall that it was pretty. I don't know. I liked it.
Yeah.
I honestly like both Doctor Strange movies actually, but yeah, after rewatching it's cool. And like I really wish the only thing I think I would say upon rewatching it is I can tell there was stuff in place to be way more Raimi-esque.
Yeah.
And I
And they,
wish they wouldn't have stifled him. I
I
wish they would have
know.
let him do a full
Dude,
Raimi horror
when they
movie.
did the whole like corpse mode Doctor
Yeah.
Strange with the crazy cape and everything, I was like, this is the coolest Sam Raimi thing that they've let happen. It's really
Yep.
neat.
And
But
then there was that one scene when she's like in the
she's
other Wanda's
yeah.
house. It's very shot like a Sam Raimi horror movie, and I'm like,
Mhm.
man, why didn't they just let this guy cook? Why didn't they
Yeah.
believe in him? Like
Yeah.
Sam Raimi is great at this stuff. Like just let him do it, you know? But
Yeah, it
anyways,
happens. And then our very last question we have is from Cinematic Anarchy, and they said, just name your favorite obscure independent horror, comedy, and action films. Just like name some.
ooh, favorite horror movies. I'm gonna be real. And it's not a fair horror movie because it's kind of more of an action movie,
Mhm.
but
That's good.
13 Ghosts, dude. I really love that movie a lot. I
Yeah.
think it was a really cool movie for a horror. For indie movie, I guess I can say Clerks, right? I mean, it ended up getting picked up by Miramax, but I would
Comedy.
probably
Yeah,
say
it's indie enough.
comedy is going to be Step Brothers. I feel like that's just one of the greatest comedies of all time, and I don't know. Like, there's very few movies upon the first watch who have like really hit me in so many funny places at once, and Step Brothers was definitely one of
Yeah.
them.
You know what's funny? Like, I don't know if they want obscure, like all of them to be obscure or just obscure independent movie. Like, my favorite obscure independent movie is probably Survive Style 5. Right?
Mm.
Well, it's either that or let me think. Like Nothing was good. I don't know. I like a lot of like Meatball Machine. I used to watch a lot
Yeah,
of like
you're definitely in
obscure.
indie movie
I used
guy.
to
Like
watch a
I am
lot of
not indie movie
obscure,
guy.
like weird indie movies and stuff. I love the Cube series. I like Vincenzo Natali. I also love like Time Crimes, like Nacho Vigilando movies.
I
Yeah,
think I watched The Cube, so I've seen The
yeah,
Cube. I think that
they,
was a movie
yeah,
I've watched with you. And there was that era we were watching all those Japanese like foreign
yeah,
films. It was pretty cool, like the Mega Man looking one and
yeah, yeah.
Battle Royale, but that's probably a pretty big movie, right? I mean, the Battle
Yeah,
Royale
I mean they
movies are
remade
probably
it as Hunger Games.
yeah,
So,
basically.
I know. I'm kidding. But yeah, I mean as far as like okay, like horror or like other stuff. I mean I love funny games. I actually want to watch that with my fiance because it's a weird movie and I'm sure you've probably seen it if you're or, like not you, Steven. I don't think you've
Mm.
seen it. Like because you guys don't watch like horror movies very much.
We don't even we
That's
barely
like
touch thrillers, you
I
know?
know, well
So like
that's like a dark thriller is what it is. It's a,
mhm.
like it's kind of like a
I
horror.
don't mind that stuff. It's just I don't
Yeah.
also love that stuff. So there's
Yeah.
no push or pull from us.
Yeah,
So
I do feel like like obscure comedies. It's kind of hard to find like really good ones.
Little
You know,
Miss Sunshine was pretty good.
yeah, like well, we were just talking about like Mystery Team, but like
Mystery Team's good
like
too.
Mystery Team's good. Like like there are like the odd hits, but like most of the time, like that like there's the puffy chair and all those like Mark Duplass movies that are fun. They are technically like comedy adjacent, but I don't know. I don't
Mhm.
find them to be hilarious. You know, it's not like they never make me like laugh out loud. I don't know. I feel we talked about this recently. Like I don't feel like a lot of movies have really like hit me as far as comedies have been concerned. It's always like a secondary like a subgenre.
I
And
feel like the genres as a whole have been like kind of just merged into one, and
yeah.
the real genres now are just the themes, like superhero, you know,
Yeah.
like things like that. And that's really what it is now. Like, because Guardians of the Galaxies are like, well, James Gunn's is really good at blending all those elements anyway, the action,
Yeah.
the drama, the comedy. But it does feel like, especially like in the MCU, most of those movies kind of hitch in all the spots you need to be hit
Yeah.
overall, you
It's
know?
it's so strange. I feel like James Gunn just kind of like became what Joss Whedon used to be before he was
Yeah.
like like we had Joss Whedon, and then he was like, I'm gonna treat my wife badly and people on the sets terribly, and now everyone
It's
cancels me.
that is
And
still
now
the
James
craziest
Gunn,
thing to me.
is
Like,
the
how
new
does the guy who
Dustin.
like was behind like one of the most like the show that has the first like lesbian kiss on screen and
Yeah,
like has all these amazingly strong female like women characters
here he
and
is, like being
and
this.
here he
Yeah,
is the biggest misogynistic piece of shit or like whatever.
which
It's
just
just like
sucks, dude. That's just, I mean,
I mean there
yeah,
were signs in Buffy.
yeah.
I feel
But
like
it's
Xander.
it's always one of those like they protest too much. You know, it's like the
Yeah.
people look at what this is who I am, and it's like no, it's not. Should we just stop it? But
Well, I've been like when I was like on like the different like Buffy stuff, like Reddits and things like that, people have said that Xander was basically a self-insert for Joss Whedon and like to some extent.
yeah.
And rewatching Buffy, Xander has some horrible takes when it comes to
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of things. Like he's hilarious, but there's some weird takes that Xander has, and it's
For
like,
sure,
ooh.
dude. But yeah, I mean, we've listed enough movies tonight. Let's see what else we have going on. All right, so those are all of our questions. Thank you all for participating in our questions from the colony segment. If you have questions for us, make sure you comment below or get in touch with us on Twitter/X or whatever it may be. All right, Steven. So this is the part of the show where we talk about how we did this week and what we're doing next week. How did you do this week?
With all things considered, I finished page 4 and am working. I have entire page of page 5 roughed. So
Heck, freaking yeah! That's
and
a
and we still did a lot
sure.
of other stuff too. I mean, because this week
That's what I was gonna say.
I did page 4. I
Yep.
roughed the entirety of page 5. We had a D&D campaign, and we boxed everything for
And
shipping.
we got issue 3 and the new barreled stickers up on our website, available to purchase now. So if you want to purchase
Amazing.
those, go to We Have Issues podcast. You can purchase all of our books that are available right now. You can buy them both digitally or physically, and get your hands on these sweet, sweet barreled stickers. Which, oh my gosh, I love them so much. But yeah, dude, I was able to get that stuff online, help you with the packaging and signing and all that stuff. I also got a little bit. I got like 2 pages written of Bloodlust, and we're doing it. We're doing this friggin' thing. It's like it's all coming together, and I feel great about it.
Everything's
So
coming up Millhouse. I do want to speak to the Kickstarter
yeah,
daily. We tried. Everyone can attest. We
we
did
really did.
everything we
Oh my
could to get
God.
Samuel to sign that book, and he was so difficult. But on the back of your issue 3 copy, I did get like a half of a dog print from him, and he protested the entire time. It
Really
took
did.
like
The
3 or 4
Steven
people
went.
to really get him to do this, and
It was
he was
hilarious.
not a. And then there was inky dog prints all over my house.
Yep.
It was. But we did our best.
Yep.
So you will have at least there. He has touched issue 3, and you will see somewhat of a dog print on it.
100%. Dude, that was so funny. I love doing stuff like that. But this week, I'm gonna do my best to finish Bloodlust. I'm gonna finish writing it this week so I can get it off to you. And then I'm going to really jump into the coloring of issue 4. You know, like
Perfect.
I
And then
started it, but I'm gonna like jump into it.
like I said, I did give him a deadline of end of April. Chris is really cool though. Usually I mean, even if we push past it, but I'm gonna try to aim for that goal still with
Yeah,
Bloodlust. So
one
I just wanted to get like I said, the nice meaty chunk of Deathless 4 going, so that way I'm in the spirit of the book when I come,
Yes.
back and forth to it.
No, I love that. And like if you get a good chunk going, you know what else I'd like you to do if you could? Like we should start spitballing a cover for it,
Yeah.
because it always helps. Like we're gonna need a cover when we do the Kickstarter, and I'd like to do that sooner rather than later, since we've shipped off, or we're shipping everything off now for issue
Hmm.
3, So if we can get the Kickstarter going for issue 4, it'll kind of like light that fire under us
Yep,
as
I'll
we.
probably just follow the themes we've been doing, and then of course I'll do the alternate silver or the holofoil coverage. I think I'm just going to follow that trend for all the holofoils. Just have the
Nice.
profile
I love
shot
that
of a
idea.
character
That's yeah,
doing
dude.
their power, basically whatever their
Perfect.
power is.
Yeah,
You know,
100%, dude. But that's what we're doing this week. That's what we were up to. Thank you so much for joining us and being a part of our colony. It really means everything to us. Make sure you share our show with everyone in the universe, especially your grandparents. I don't know why, but we need them.
we love
We
grandparents.
we love them. But anyone you know who owns a phone and has YouTube on the phone, just like find that YouTube and just like subscribe to us, subscribe to our channel. If they don't know, they don't need to know. It's none of their business. And
Sneak
maybe
subscribe. YouTube is open. They're signed
you know
in.
what? Not only that, hit that little bell on their phone so then like they get our notifications, and like maybe it's like a little birthday gift.
What
It's
is
a
this, Tom Segura? I follow Tom Segura. Is
one
this
of
a Tom
those Tom
Segura
Segura.
podcast?
It's 2 of those Tom Seguras. But yeah, it's just us, a couple Tom Seguras. We have issues.
Hey,
Hey, Steven. So what do you
has
want to say?
nothing to do with Tom Segura.
Not at
Even.
all. Not even
Not
a
even a
little.
little bit.
Hey, I'm a Tom Segura.
I
What?
am Tom Segura
Hey,
here.
come on, Tom Segura's over here. All right, what do you want to say to the people before we go?
thank you so much. The fact that I was packaging as many things as I was, and knowing that all a majority, if not all of those packages are going to all of you wonderful, super supportive, tune in every week, talk to us, hang out with us people from Twitter and friends that we've made along the way in this journey. Thank you, each and every one of you, so very, very much. We appreciate you.
Yeah, we do. Thank you so much. And if you missed our last Kickstarter or like our previous books, or if you're just wondering what the hell we make, check it out at wehaveissuespodcast.com, or you can always wait for our next Kickstarter. It'll be coming in the next couple months, and we'll have, tiers so you can catch up with all of our books. But we just appreciate you making it this far on our show and hanging out with us and being a part of this journey, like Steven said. Thank you so much. We love you. Until next time, I'm Anthony.
And I am Stevie Wildcard.
This has been We Have Issues. See you next week.
Boom 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 bada boom bada boom bada boom boom bada bada boom boom bada boom boom. Long here.
100%. Like after it's like I hope everything turns out well for you, but not I'm not concerned.
Speaking of reality TV, I don't watch a lot of it or any of it. The only time I even encounter any sort of reality television is if Tina loves trash TV. So she'll like when I'm at work, if she's
Oh, yeah.
like wanting to watch something, she'll put on like Love is Blind or
Yeah.
one of those various
Oh,
really
yeah.
crappy shows.
They're so
Um,
addictive though once you get
yeah,
into it.
I get it. I get the draw to them, but it's just they're fine for me because I'm drawing.
You're
If
drawing.
she wants to watch them when I'm there, then that's even better. Because what happens when we watch something I'm interested in is I go,
Yep.
you
And
know what I'm
stop
saying?
focusing on one.
But um reality show, American, I think it's American Idol still. Uh a guy from Naples went
Yeah.
in singing Corn and like Drowning Pool and actually made it through the first like round.
I know, I'm sure he sang like a good corn song that like with like some notes in it that
He
made it.
actually sang Freak on a Leash,
I was
but
gonna say,
actually but
although I
that does have some pretty good chorus, like sometimes I
yeah,
cannot take,
but all I'm hearing is
He
now.
does it. He goes for it. And who
Okay.
is it? Who's the sing? Oh, Carrie Underwood, I think, is one of the
Okay.
judges. I thought it was Katy Perry, but it might be. No, Katy Perry's on a different one. Anyways, it
Carrie,
looked
Carrie.
like it was. It looked like it was Carrie Underwood, and she was singing along. She's like, "Yeah, when I was in high school, I was into all that stuff." So she was like singing, and then like when he sang "Drowning Pool," she actually went up and sang it with him,
Oh,
like
cool.
did the harmonies.
Yeah, yeah.
But
That's
they put him through. So and he's from. I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Like a rock guy kind of made it through because I remember the guy that came. Remember that guy in American Idol? I think he sang Silverstein, didn't
oh
he?
yeah, 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 yeah. There was a guy who
Yeah.
sang.
Never a God. Yeah. But it's cool to see a rock guy make it through. But then when I was like researching it, he's from Naples. I'm like, that's crazy. He lives
That's
like
awesome.
40 minutes from me. He lives like 10 minutes from you, you know?
Heck yeah.
And I just thought that was cool. But anyways, reality TV.